gorgeous? Does that funk have you feeling stuck? Have you questioning your purpose, or even yet having you asking if your best years are behind you? Girl, you have zero obligation to stay in that funk. This podcast is for women who want to get the funk out of here, who want to play bigger, ask for more, and step out of mediocrity. Imagine a life filled with lots of energy, excitement, and filled with spunk instead of that funk. This is the Unfunk Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Crystal. Let's go! Hey, girlfriends, what's up? I'm so glad you're here, and I hope you've started off the week with a bang. There's been a lot of oohs and ahs in our household over the last week. We have some baby doves that hatched not too long ago, and one took off flying right before our eyes over the weekend, you guys. It was wild. He flew a little ways, and then he landed in the yard, and then my dog actually got out of the house and went over to him, and he got a little frightened and flew up and landed on the top of the wall. So he was safe, and he sat there for a few minutes. And then he took off again, and we didn't see him anymore. And it's funny because it wasn't like you see in the cartoons. Remember when you watched cartoons and the mama bird actually practiced with the baby bird, showed it how to fly and gave it motivation to keep trying, or picked it up and took it back up to the nest to comfort it when it fell on the ground? Nope. These two baby birds were in the nest alone. There was no parent that I could see that was around. This one just took off flight randomly without the mom, the dad bird trying to teach it how to fly. And then a couple hours later, the second one took flight too. And for a few moments, I just sat there in awe. I got to see these baby birds from basically inception, from their little eggs all the way up until they took off the nest. I was like a proud mom. And now if that bird can do it, that baby bird, you can too. You are worth much more than the bird. To God, to the universe, think about how wonderfully designed you are. The complexities, the intricacies, and all the details that are you cannot be duplicated anywhere else. You are one of a kind. So what is keeping you in that nest when your dream or your purpose is to fly, girl? You can fly just like that bird. And think about it, with your own life and experiences behind you, I bet you go a little farther than that baby bird did when you decide to take flight. What if you make it safely all the way to perch on that wall? And just like that baby bird, perhaps you do land on the ground. But I'm telling you, if that bird can take another little flight and land safely on the wall, then you can too. You have resilience. But here is where you let your logic and your reason take center stage. Before you fly, you've checked the wind report. You've looked around to see if there are any predators waiting to eat you if you touch the ground for a moment. You've developed all kinds of what-if scenarios that could fill a medieval scroll. What if I break my leg when I fall? What if I get a cramp in my right wing? What if? Perhaps you don't have any what-ifs. Maybe it's just that comfy nest you're sitting in. Maybe you have a fear that when you take flight, that maybe that comfy nest will be gone while you're in flight. Some of you ever only consider logic and reason when you're deciding to try something new or to fly after your dream. You never leave room in your calculations for divine intervention to experience that monumental awe. Some people call it woo. Some call it the magic. Whatever you call it, you haven't left any room in the equation for it when you're deciding to take flight. Your logic and reason told you all the cons outweighed the pros. And just a little insight, your cons were made up of things that will likely never happen. But that's another episode. Where's your imagination, your excitement, your hope, your knowing that if you leave the nest and it is gone for one reason or another when you return or it gets destroyed, that perhaps you have outgrown that nest. It was waiting for you to leave. You no longer needed that nest. The knowing that the divine, that the world, that the universe has your back, and that you'll fly so high. The mountaintop is right there for you to land on and claim. Your logic and reason never even accounted for the mountaintop. You were just thinking about the wall. Let me take it a step further. You can fly to the place place beyond the mountaintop, to a place you never even knew existed. Your logic and reason is keeping you from flying and experiencing new things and exploring new areas in life. Your logic and reason is telling you you know everything. I remember when I was younger and I moved to New York and working, commuting, eating, and drinking, that was my life. It was all I felt like I had time to do. And finally, I decided to fly beyond those boundaries. Fly beyond the boundaries of working, commuting, and just eating and drinking. I needed new friends. Once I decided to take flight and meet new friends, I met people with fascinating traditions. People that were not celebrities that had elevators in their house. In today's world, that actually doesn't seem like a big deal. But it was huge to me because I thought that kind of life was only for the famous. Shoot, I even went into a house with gold-plated columns and basically everything in it was gold-plated. And a security system in it like you wouldn't believe. And it really did blow my mind. I never would have experienced that had I not take flight. It's time to get out of default mode. It's time to get out of that mindless routine. It's time to take flight. Flight towards meeting new friends. Flight to trying new things. Flight to that new dream or that dream you've been having. It's time to take flight and feel your life. Think back when you took flight towards love, or maybe think about it now. Think about your first love. Did you even know that feeling was possible until you flew towards it? When you think everything through using logic and reason and leave no room for that divine intervention, that monumental awe, we miss out on that part of the experience. We sit in our default mode. We sit in that mindless routine, keeping ourselves in the busy, keeping ourselves in that nest. I think it was Wayne Gretzky that says you miss 100% of the shots you never take. But what if we change that quote around a little bit? What if we change it around to, you don't get to experience what you never knew existed if you never take flight? A world beyond your logic and reason exists. Matter of fact, my husband was chatting with a local business owner who opened up a shop, and he's actually about to open 3 more. He said he never imagined it would explode like it did. He knew it would do well, but he actually didn't account for the exploding when he did his ROI, or his return on investment. And you can relate, right? Many, if not all of your success stories didn't go exactly as planned. Have some type of divine intervention, monumental awe that was weaved into that story. There is or was an element of wow. And when you think back to that story, it went way better than planned, right? It was way beyond the logic. Couldn't be explained by the logic and reason. You could have never put that in the plan. So when it's time to take flight, leave room for that intervention, that divine intervention, that monumental awe. You don't have to know what it is. You just have to leave a little room for it. Perhaps you're not ready to fly yet. Perhaps you're resting in your comfy nest that you've built up to this point. And that's totally fine if that's what you're intentionally choosing. But there will be a time when you're ready to take flight again. You may fall. Maybe no one will be around to teach you or to motivate you like that baby bird didn't have his mom. And when you're ready to take flight, know that your life is worth taking flight, worth taking lots of flights. That's what keeps life exciting. It's what guides us to hope. Hope that there are amazing people, amazing sights, amazing things waiting for us if we just take flight. Things we have never seen, never experienced. It's where the impossible all of a sudden becomes possible. Just like that bird, it's in you to decide to fly. And yep, you don't know the outcome. But isn't that the thrill? Isn't that where the butterflies in your stomach give you that feeling as if you're living? You're living, you're experiencing the human experience. Next time, when you consider taking flight, when your dream is to fly, consider your logic and reason, but also ask yourself if you have any or left any room for that monumental awe, that divine intervention, because I promise you have more in you than that baby bird. If you are choosing to rest in your nest, remember that's great because it is something you are choosing. But if you're dreaming to fly, then girl, you must fly to experience or get close to your dreams. And I'm cheering you on. Other women are cheering you on. And that's the beauty, right? The good shit is happening beyond our sight. Beyond our logic and reason is where the good stuff lies. You don't see it waiting for you, but it is out there waiting for you. And every guru out there wants to give you tips and tricks on how to fly, what they use to motivate themselves. Girl, you just gotta flap your wings. You just have to decide to. Get out of that comfy nest and start flying. You are gonna fall like that baby bird, but maybe you get farther than that baby bird. So go, bird, fly again, over and over and over again. Take a rest in your nest when you need to. And the rest might be for 10 minutes. It might be for 5 years. But when you're ready to fly again, consider some logic and reason in your decision, of course. But leave room for that monumental awe, that divine intervention. And I'll leave you with this food for thought. Our oceans cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface. Yet over 80% of them remain unexplored. Let me repeat that. Our oceans cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface. Yet over 80% of them remain unexplored. So if or when it ever doesn't get explored, don't you think there's stuff or things down there, experiences down there that like you can't even wrap your mind around? That might be a life or like a mind-blowing experience. The same is true for your life. There exist things out there that you never even thought was possible for your life. It will be just a matter of you deciding to look beyond your logic and reason and to take flight. So let's go, sisters. We're in it together. Let's go. And now to take care of that legal mumbo jumbo, this show is not meant to replace any type of professional help, professional services. It is intended for educational and motivational purposes only. Before you go, Superwoman, I'd love it if you took a little action for me. Like, subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. Also, share the episode with a friend. And as a thank you, hit up my website to crystalsumner.com, thecrystalsumner.com, to grab free journal prompts. Okay, ladies, now is the time to go on Funk Your Mind, play bigger, and ask for more. Open the door to possibility and cancel playing small. So get up and go.